I'm Paula, 32 years old, working as a software developer in a mid-sized tech company. I've always been close to my family, especially my younger sister Emily, 28F. Our parents, Mom, 58F, and Dad, 60M, have always seemed supportive, but recent events have made me question everything. Growing up, our family wasn't wealthy, but we were comfortable. Mom worked as a high school teacher, and Dad ran a small local hardware store. They always emphasized the importance of education and hard work. Emily and I both did well in school, but our paths diverged after high school. I went into computer science, while Emily pursued a degree in fashion design. From a young age, I was the more practical one. I started saving money from my first job at 16, working weekends at a local cafe. Emily, on the other hand, was always more free-spirited and creative. She had big dreams of launching her own fashion line someday. Our parents always seemed proud of both of us, but I noticed they tended to make more allowances for Emily's whims and expenses. After college, I landed a good job at a tech startup. The pay was decent, and I continued my habit of saving. For the past 5 years, I've been putting aside money for a down payment on a house. It's been my dream to own a place of my own, and I've worked overtime and taken on freelance projects to make it happen. I was so close to my goal, just $20,000 short of the $150,000 I needed. Emily's career path was less straightforward. She struggled to find steady work in the fashion industry and often relied on our parents for financial support. They helped her with rent, paid off her credit card debt a few times, and even funded a small fashion show for her fledgling brand. I never begrudged her this help, thinking our parents were just trying to support her dreams. About 3 months ago, everything changed. It was a Tuesday evening, and I was just settling down after work when my phone rang. It was Mom, and she was crying. Between sobs, she told me that Dad had been diagnosed with a rare heart condition and needed urgent surgery. The procedure wasn't covered by their insurance, and they were $50,000 short. I was shocked and scared for Dad's health. Without hesitation, I offered to give them my savings. It was a huge setback for my house plans, but family comes first, right? I remember Mom's voice, thick with emotion, thanking me profusely and calling me her angel. She promised they'd pay me back as soon as they could. I transferred the money to them immediately. Over the next few weeks, I called regularly to check on Dad's progress. Mom always had excuses for why I couldn't talk to him directly. He was resting, at a doctor's appointment, or too weak to come to the phone. I found it odd but didn't want to push too hard. I figured recovery from heart surgery must be tough. During this time, Emily was strangely distant. When I tried to talk to her about Dad's condition, she seemed evasive and quickly changed the subject. I attributed it to her way of coping with stress and didn't think much of it. Last week, I decided to surprise my parents with a visit. I took a day off work and drove the 2 hours to their house, picking up some of Dad's favorite soup from a deli on the way. I was nervous about seeing him in a weakened state but determined to be there for my family. When I arrived, I was stunned to see Dad mowing the lawn, looking perfectly healthy. He was whistling and waved cheerily when he saw my car pull up. For a moment, I thought I was hallucinating. How could a man who had supposedly undergone major heart surgery just weeks ago be doing yard work? I confronted them right there on the front lawn. Dad looked confused, and Mom's face went pale. That's when the truth came tumbling out, each revelation more shocking than the last. There was no heart condition. No surgery. They had lied to me to get money for Emily's wedding. Apparently, Emily and her fiancé Jake, 29M, wanted a lavish destination wedding in the Maldives, but couldn't afford it. Instead of telling them to scale back, my parents decided to fund it by scamming me. I stood there, feeling like the ground was shifting beneath my feet. Mom tried to explain, saying they knew I had savings and that I wouldn't miss it much. Dad chimed in, telling me that Emily deserved a special day and that as the older sister, I should want to contribute. I was furious. I demanded to know if Emily was in on this deception. They hesitated but finally admitted that yes, she knew about the plan. In fact, it had been her idea initially, though they had come up with a fake medical emergency story. When I demanded my money back, they had the audacity to tell me I was being selfish. They said Emily deserved a dream wedding and that I could always save up again since I had a good job. Mom even suggested I could live with them for a while to save on rent if I needed to. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The parents who had always preached honesty and hard work had lied to me, stolen my savings, and were now trying to make me feel guilty for being upset about it. I left their house in tears, feeling betrayed and used. On the drive home, my phone kept buzzing with messages. Emily was blowing up my phone, calling me dramatic and saying I was ruining her special day. She said I had always been the golden child and for once, something was supposed to be about her. My parents were sending guilt-tripping texts, saying I was tearing the family apart over just money. But it's not just money to me. It's 5 years of hard work and sacrifice weekends. It's my dream of having my own home. And above all, it's the trust I had in my family. I keep thinking back to all the times I skipped nights out with friends or passed on vacations to save money. All those sacrifices, gone in an instant because my family decided their wants were more important than my needs. I haven't responded to any of their messages. I've been sitting in my apartment, alternating between crying and feeling numb. I've always been the responsible one, the one who played by the rules. And this is what it got me. I don't know what to do now. Part of me wants to go to the police, but I'm scared of the consequences for my family. Would they go to jail for fraud? As angry as I am, I don't know if I could live with that. Another part just wants to cut them all off and start over. But the thought of losing my entire family is terrifying. I've thought about reaching out to Jake, Emily's fiancé. Does he know where the money for this extravagant wedding is coming from? But then I worry that I'd just be creating more drama if he's unaware. My colleagues have noticed that something's off with me at work. I've been distracted and making silly mistakes. My boss pulled me aside yesterday to ask if everything was okay. I mumbled something about family issues, but I was too embarrassed to explain the full situation. I feel so lost and angry. The future I had been working toward seems to have evaporated overnight. I'm left questioning every interaction I've ever had with my family. Were there signs I missed? Have they been taking advantage of me in smaller ways all along? I keep going back and forth on what to do. Should I give them an ultimatum to return the money or face legal consequences? Should I just let it go for the sake of family peace? Or should I fight to get my money back, even if it means potentially destroying my relationship with my parents and sister? Any advice would be appreciated because right now, I feel like I'm drowning in a sea of betrayal and uncertainty. Update 1. Hello everyone. First, I want to thank you all for your support and advice on my original post. The past 2 weeks have been incredibly difficult, but your comments have helped me feel less alone in this situation. After reading your advice and doing a lot of soul searching, I decided to take action. I sent a formal letter to my parents and Emily, demanding the return of my money within 30 days, or I would pursue legal action. I made it clear that I had documentation of the transfer and their deception, and that I was prepared to go to the authorities if necessary. I also decided to reach out to Jake, Emily's fiancé. I figured he had a right to know what was going on, especially if he was unaware of where the wedding money was coming from. I sent him a brief email explaining the situation and asking if we could talk. To my surprise, Jake called me the next day. He was shocked and horrified by what my family had done. He had no idea the money for their wedding came from me, let alone that it was obtained through deception. Jake told me he comes from a modest background and was uncomfortable with the extravagant wedding plans, but Emily had insisted, saying her parents were handling everything. Jake and I talked for hours. He apologized profusely, even though it wasn't his fault, and promised to help me get my money back. He even offered to postpone the wedding until this was sorted out. I was touched by his integrity and felt a glimmer of hope for the first time since this all began. However, things took an unexpected turn when Jake confronted Emily. Instead of showing remorse, Emily flew into a rage. She accused him of betraying her and siding with me. She even threatened to call off the wedding if he didn't support her. Jake, to his credit, stood his ground. He told Emily that he couldn't marry someone who would steal from their own sister and lie about it. He called off the engagement and told my parents he wanted nothing to do with their scheme. Emily didn't take this well. The day after her breakup with Jake, she showed up at my apartment unannounced. She was crying and yelling, alternating between blaming me for ruining her life and begging me to talk to Jake. She said I was always the perfect daughter and that for once, she wanted something for herself. When I tried to explain how her actions had hurt me, she dismissed it, saying I could easily save up again with my fancy job. I tried to reason with her, to make her understand the gravity of what she and our parents had done, but she was too emotional to listen. She brought up childhood grievances, claiming our parents always favored me and that this wedding was supposed to be her moment to shine. When I didn't give in to her demands, she left, threatening that I would regret this. My parents, instead of seeing the error of their ways, have doubled down. They're now saying that I've not only ruined Emily's wedding but also her chance at happiness. They've been calling and texting nonstop, alternating between guilt-tripping and anger. They're threatening to disown me if I don't drop my demand for the money and apologize to Emily. I'm standing firm, but it's hard. The family I thought I had is crumbling around me. Old family friends and relatives are getting involved, with some supporting me and others calling me greedy and unforgiving. My aunt, mom's sister, called to berate me for tearing the family apart, while my cousin on dad's side reached out to offer support and shared that my parents had borrowed money from her parents years ago and never paid it back. Through all this, I've found unexpected support. Jake has been keeping in touch, offering moral support and any help he can provide. He's even offered to testify if it comes to legal action. Some of my cousins who I wasn't very close to before have rallied around me, offering emotional and even legal advice. My best friend, Lisa, has been my rock through all of this. She's let me crash at her place a few nights when being alone in my apartment felt too overwhelming. She's also been helping me gather and organize all the evidence of the money transfer and my parents' deception. At work, I finally broke down and told my boss what was going on. To my relief, he was understanding and offered me some time off if I needed it. A weight lifted off my shoulders just by sharing the burden with someone outside the situation. I'm still processing everything that's happened. The betrayal runs deep, and I'm not sure if my relationship with my family can ever be repaired. But I'm also feeling stronger, knowing that I'm standing up for myself and what's right. I've decided to go ahead with legal action. I've consulted a lawyer, and we're preparing to file a civil suit against my parents. It's not a step I take lightly, but I feel it's necessary. My lawyer has advised me to cease all direct communication with my parents and Emily, so I've blocked their numbers and email addresses. As for Emily, I'm giving her space. I hope that one day she'll realize the gravity of what she's done and seek to make amends. But for now, I need to focus on myself and getting back what's rightfully mine. The dream of buying a house feels far away right now, but I'm trying to stay positive. I've started looking for a second job to rebuild my savings, and I'm also considering moving to a cheaper apartment to cut down on expenses. Thank you all again for your support. It means more than you know during this difficult time. I'll update again when there are new developments in the legal proceedings. Update 2. Hello everyone. It's been a couple of months since my last update, and a lot has happened. I appreciate all the support and advice I've received from this community. The lawsuit against my parents is progressing. My lawyer believes we have a strong case, especially since we have written evidence of their deceit in the form of text messages and emails discussing my dad's fake medical condition. However, legal proceedings are slow, and it's been emotionally draining. We've had a few preliminary hearings, and my parents have tried to get the case dismissed, but the judge has allowed it to move forward. What I didn't expect was the ripple effect this would have on my extended family. It turns out, my parents have a history of financial manipulation that goes beyond what they did to me. Since news of the lawsuit spread, several family members have come forward with their own stories. My aunt, mom's sister, revealed that my parents borrowed a significant amount from her years ago, claiming they needed it for Emily's college tuition. They never paid it back, and now we know that Emily's education was fully funded by scholarships. My cousin shared a similar story about a loan for a non-existent medical emergency. Even my grandmother called me, in tears, saying she now realized why her retirement savings were much lower than they should be. My parents had been borrowing from her for years. This revelation has caused a major rift in the family. Some relatives are furious with my parents, feeling betrayed themselves. Others are angry at me for airing dirty laundry and potentially ruining my parents' reputation in our community. There have been heated arguments at family gatherings, and some relatives aren't speaking to each other anymore. Emily, surprisingly, reached out to me last week. Our conversation was tense, but she admitted that she's been doing some soul-searching. She apologized for her role in the deception and for her reaction when it all came to light. She started therapy to work through her issues and has realized how toxic our family dynamic has been. She confessed that she's always felt overshadowed by me and saw the lavish wedding as her chance to finally be the center of attention. While I appreciate her apology, I'm not ready to forgive her yet. Trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild. But it's a start, and I told her I'm open to slowly rebuilding our relationship if she continues to show genuine remorse and change. As for my parents, they're not handling the situation well. They've been badmouthing me to anyone who will listen, painting themselves as victims of an ungrateful daughter. They've even started a GoFundMe campaign, claiming they need help to defend themselves against a false lawsuit. It's frustrating, but my lawyer assures me their actions will only hurt their case in the long run. The stress of the situation has been affecting my health. I've been having trouble sleeping and my doctor says my blood pressure is elevated. On my lawyer's advice, I've started seeing a therapist to help me process everything. It's been helpful in dealing with the stress and emotional turmoil. I've also been focusing on self-care and building stronger relationships with friends who have been incredibly supportive throughout this ordeal. Financially, it's been tough. The legal fees are adding up, and I'm still trying to rebuild my savings. I've picked up some extra freelance work on the weekends, and I'm exploring new job opportunities that could help me reach my goals faster. The house I was saving for is still a dream, but I'm not giving up. Jake, Emily's ex-fiancé, has remained supportive. He's offered to be a witness in the lawsuit if needed, and he's been a good friend through all of this. We've grown closer, bonding over our shared experience of betrayal by my family. There's no romantic involvement, we both need time to heal, but his friendship has been a bright spot in this difficult time. This experience has been eye-opening and painful, but it's also taught me valuable lessons about setting boundaries and standing up for myself. I'm learning to prioritize my own well-being and to surround myself with people who truly care about me. I'm taking it one day at a time and trying to stay positive despite the ongoing legal battle. Thank you all for your continued support. It means the world to me during these challenging times. Update 3. Hello everyone. It's been half a year since this nightmare began, and I wanted to give you all a final update. So much has changed, and I'm in a very different place now, both emotionally and literally. The lawsuit against my parents concluded last month. Thanks to the overwhelming evidence, including their own admissions in writing and testimonies from other family members they had scammed, the judge ruled in my favor. My parents have been ordered to repay the full $130,000, plus interest and legal fees. However, collecting the money is proving to be another challenge. My parents claim they don't have the funds and are considering declaring bankruptcy to avoid paying. My lawyer is exploring our options, including potentially putting a lien on their house. It's frustrating, but I'm trying to stay patient and trust the legal process. The family fallout has been severe. My parents have become outcasts in our extended family and community as more of their deceptions came to light. Several relatives have cut ties with them completely. They're blaming me for destroying the family, but most people see through their manipulation now. Emily and I have started to rebuild our relationship slowly. She's been in therapy and has made significant progress in recognizing our parents' toxic behavior and her own role in enabling it. She's even offered to help pay back some of the money, though I told her it wasn't necessary. We're not close like we used to be, but we're working on building a healthier relationship based on honesty and respect. As for me, I've made some big changes. The stress of the lawsuit and family drama was affecting my health and work performance. My blood pressure was consistently high, and I was having trouble focusing at work. So, I decided to make a fresh start. I quit my job, sold most of my possessions, and moved to a different state. I'm now working remotely for a startup that I really believe in. The pay is less than my previous job, but the work is fulfilling and the company culture is much healthier. I'm living in a small but cozy apartment in a city I've always wanted to try. It's been an adjustment, but I'm enjoying the change of scenery and the chance to reinvent myself. I've made new friends through local meetup groups and even started dating someone who's been incredibly understanding about my family situation. It's early days, but it feels good to be open to new possibilities. The dream of owning a house is still there, but it's on the back burner for now. I'm learning to enjoy the present and not let my parents' actions define my future. I've started a new savings plan, but I'm also allowing myself small indulgences that I would have denied myself before. Life's too short to always be planning for tomorrow. I've gone no contact with my parents. It wasn't an easy decision, but it's been crucial for my mental health. I've blocked them on all platforms and asked mutual contacts not to pass on any messages from them. Some days are harder than others, especially around holidays or birthdays, but overall, I feel more at peace. My therapist has been helping me work through the guilt and grief that comes with essentially losing my parents. We're focusing on building my self-esteem and setting healthy boundaries in all my relationships. This experience has taught me invaluable lessons about self-worth, the importance of boundaries, and the true meaning of family. I've learned that sometimes the family we choose is more valuable than the one we're born into. My friends, both old and new, have shown me more love and support than I ever got from my parents. To everyone who supported me through this journey, thank you. Your advice, kind words, and shared experiences have been a lifeline. I'm closing this chapter of my life now, focusing on building a better future for myself. For anyone going through similar family issues, stay strong, trust your gut, and don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. It's a tough road, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. You deserve respect and honesty from the people in your life, including your family. This will be my last update. I feel like I've finally processed everything that happened and I'm ready to move forward without constantly revisiting this painful chapter of my life. Thank you all once again, and I wish you all the best.